Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday to all. You're watching the Kaiser Report. We have a few things to talk about today. A visit to What Does It All Mean, and another visit quickly to Stupid Town today, because we have a lot of stupidity going on in and around our country any longer that is almost crazy. Even past presidents are chiming in now to take away from the beautiful thing that happened yesterday with regard to peace in the Middle East. And they just cannot stand it that this happened. And it happened under the watch and tutelage of Donald J. Trump, which we all know now that everything is get Trump at all costs, especially with the Democratic side of our lawmakers that sit in Congress today. A couple on the GOP aisle, as well as all of but three on the Democratic side, that does not like what is taking place. And that is closure of the border, the rounding up of the illegals, especially the criminal bunch that are at loose in this country, and getting away in some cases with murder. The blue states that have decided that there's no bail necessary for these people, that the courts turn out back into the street people that have committed, in some cases, heinous crimes. And the looting and stealing has cost the businessman across this nation a lot of money and a lot of angst that they can't run a business. If you look at just CVS pharmacies alone in some of these blue cities that have had to shut their doors or lock everything up to where you cannot even get a razor blade anymore without finding someone in the store that has the key to open that particular cabinet. It is a shame, and it is being cleaned up against all odds, because the Democratic Party has decided to shut down this government and then blame it on the Republicans, which we know now, after seeing who is shutting the government down, that it is not the Republican side. You do have a clean bill that is sitting there, and their refusal to sign it is only for one reason. They're waiting for this Saturday's No King March to drive home to the public that they think that they're so much smarter than, that they're going to convince us that of their plight, to get a hold of another $1.5 trillion to play with programs that are failed programs and things of that nature. And the more they come out onto the TV every day, and we know who is doing it, and tell you that we're ripping, this is the new word, we're ripping health care from major populations here that will not be able to get health care any longer, and children are starving and dying as a result of them not being able to procure $1.5 trillion, that's trillion with a T, so they can reenact the programs that were found to be wanting. They were measured and found wanting. And this is where we're cleaning up the spending spree that the Democrats have freely had reign of since Obama graced the White House with his manufactured presence. We'll see what's left of Obama here in this broadcast a little later on. He's a shadow of what he used to be. He still stumbles through speeches because he does not have a teleprompter when he goes to these interviews. Yes, it's scripted, and he's probably reading it off of a monitor behind the interviewer somewhere. But he's getting points across that are not good, and you'll see it later in this broadcast. The Egyptian meeting after the Knesset speech yesterday when he went to Egypt and met with all of the world leaders from around the world to talk about the program, the 20-point program that was put in place, and the peace agreement as it sits was well received. People in this country, against what MSNBC is telling you, are very pleased with the fact that we may have entered upon a beautiful peace deal for the Middle East, which all of the neighboring countries, the Arab countries and the Muslim countries, are on board with having this peace agreement working. And people here understand that. No matter what the talking heads on mainstream media tried to make you believe that this isn't going to work, it is working. Much to the chagrin of a lot of anti-Trump naysayers that said it could not happen. And if you were lucky enough to see any of the clips from yesterday, Starmer, he was trolled big time by Trump, and the other guy, Macron, and these two individuals are the ones that were screaming about Palestine, and they want to back Palestine, and the peace agreement wasn't going to work. Well, I'll tell you what, Macron had a very difficult time in leaving the handshake that he was greeted with yesterday by Donald J. Trump. And we all know that he is the master of handshakes, and a little guy like him is not going to break away from it until Trump is done with humiliating the two individuals that we just spoke about. You'll have to take a look here because it is quite amusing.
Let's see that in an instant replay.
Can you repair relations today, sir? How will you pressure Putin today?
A man could tell a lot by your handshake.
Brothers gotta hug.
Oh, you made him look like a bitch!
Now that's a handshake heard round the world right there. And if you were watching, you had to have a chuckle on both occasions between Starmer and what happened with little Macron yesterday. So that'll bring us around to what the mainstream media is on about, and the questions were asked on Air Force One yesterday about the Biden sycophants that worked in the Biden White House, trying to say that it was Joe Biden's and his crew's peace agreement that was the foundation of what Trump built his on. We all know that that is a crock, and the last of Biden's legacy is now been destroyed by them even trying to say that Blinken, and nod, that was over there on many occasions and accomplished nothing, and let the Ukraine war bloom into a full-on war that is going to be difficult to stop. But they want to take credit for peace deals. They want to have the credit for his legacy. Well, his legacy, and we'll show you a little bit here at the end of this clip, of exactly what his legacy is going to be. They're trying to cover up Obama's mess-ups right now by blaming this prostate cancer and this new magic treatment that they're going to come up with all of a sudden now that's going to cure his stage 4 prostate cancer. I wouldn't wish prostate cancer on anyone, but I believe this is a manufactured thing just as an excuse to get him through, like his entire presidency was. But we all know he was installed there by Obama after being his vice president, lackluster vice president, by the way, gaffe after gaffe. But Obama stayed relevant in his mind through the Biden administration, or as I like to say, the third term of Obama. The mess that he left us with, which was Kamala Harris, is the joke of the season, and she's out promoting a book and then decrying now that she's being ghosted by Joe, who's not returning her phone calls. Well, let's take a look at what happened on Air Force One and the question, which was amply answered by Donald Trump, which has no problem in holding back his thoughts on this.
Some of the top Biden administration folks who were there, like Antony Blinken, seem to want some credit for the peace deal. Blinken says it's good that President Trump adopted and built on the plan that the Biden administration developed. What do you think about that?
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Everybody knows that's a joke. Look, they did such a bad job. This should have never happened. This wouldn't have even happened. That was weak leadership, terrible. And the same thing with Russia, Ukraine. If just a decent president, not a great president like me. If a decent president was in, you wouldn't have had the Russia-Ukraine. And this is, I would say, even more so. This was bad policy by Biden and by Obama. Remember when Bibi came and he begged that you not do what they were doing with Iran? You remember that, right? Begged them. And they wouldn't even listen to him. Everything they did was the opposite what you should have done.
That's a good way to say it. I mean, it pretty much sums it up.
You know the thing, he's lost again. He's sleepy and senile and shits his pants. Welcome to Uncle Joe's greatest.
But on top of two before it,
Nope, it's not that.
thankfully the storm's impact was not as cataclysmic as we predicted. It just keeps seeming to getting worse.
What did he say?
Just keeps seeming to getting worse. I flew over Tropicana Field, and with the Tampa Bay Rays play,
You're out!
and I'm standing next to the mayor of Peach Beach and the chairwoman, Peters.
90% of the time, I have no idea what the f*** I'm talking about.
Go look at the number that showed up from around the country. From Canada, California, Nebraska, all over the country.
It's almost laughable that they would even come up with the idea, or Blinken saying that he was the architect of anything, when we full well know that that is not true. Blinken couldn't put two dogs together and make them get along. We know that. We watched it for the 4 years that he stumbled around the world and did nothing but irritate people rather than bring people to a thinking agreement around these hotspots that could have been quilled with the proper person in charge. So that'll bring us to our segment of What Does It All Mean? And we'll take a look at what's transpiring in and around the last week or so that we need to be aware of.
What you can do for every pregnant young woman who has died because she was not eligible to receive the emergency medical care she desperately needed because of an abortion ban is vote.
Miss, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, take a pregnancy test.
We don't get to sit this one out. If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. We are voting for the right to choose what happens to our own bodies.
I get it.
We are voting to save ourselves from this precipice of danger. We have the power to choose a leader who will see us. She sees us. And she will do her mighty best to serve all of us.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Well, we talked about Obama a little bit earlier in this broadcast, and what really is irritating me is that this guy is now out on these campaign to tell us all that the military should not be involved, or the National Guard should not be involved in these crime-ridden cities, because it is just, after all, just ordinary street crime, and he doesn't see why we have to put such an effort into cleaning up ordinary street crime. Well, that is the biggest crock that I've ever heard. This guy still thinks that he's relevant in some fashion, but we all know that he failed miserably at anything he tried to do. He deported more people than we have right now under this administration. But the news covers that up. How quickly they forget exactly what the Obama 8 years did for this country. It ushered in a new era of wokeness that is going to take a long time before we can clean back up the thinking of misguided people that have been cajoled by the news media to go along with these programs that enriched a lot of NGOs. NGOs meaning non-government organizations that raked in money, a lot of money under the Biden administration with the open borders, because they were paid handsomely to watch where the children went, which they lost 800,000 children. How do you do that while being handsomely paid to be a agent to protect those children? Where did they go? What cartel are they working for? Where have they been trafficked? Where are the women that are being trafficked out of our Native American reservations? These are all NGOs that enrich themselves on the back of the taxpayer of the United States, and no one was looking. Because a lot of our lawmakers also made a lot of money during COVID and on through the onslaught of people that were coming through our southern border, a lot of them manufactured here for election purposes, which we've talked about ad nauseum here on this program, and for other reasons. And the other reasons were enrichment of their own bank accounts. We are going to uncover more and more of this. This is why they fought so hard against Elon Musk being involved in Doge, because here is a smart person that knew how to dig and uncover some of the things that have been amply covered up under the guise of USAID, our healthcare system, which is what they're decrying about now and trying to convince us all that Medicare and Medicaid is being ripped away from our people, which is not true. It's being taken out of the hands of the people that are able-bodied citizens that should be working and are on Medicaid for all of the wrong reasons. There are a lot of jobs available across this United States of America, and they need to go back to work. There has been fraud and abuse in our Medicaid system and our Medicare system in some cases, as well as our Social Security system. It's been uncovered by Doge, and the left fights every day to protect their investments in bad behavior, bad spending of your tax dollars. And then they'll come out and boldface lie to you every day and tell you it's all about health care. I don't care if it's Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, or washed-up Schumer, who is so scared of AOC right now that he is hurting our country and every citizen in it by keeping this government closed. And they're keeping it closed for one reason. In case you have not realized, there is a No King March that is coming to Washington, D.C. in this approaching Saturday. They have to keep the government shut so they have some talking points to come out and rail against and try one more time to whip up an impeachment process for our sitting president, who is actually doing the job of the people, not of the party, but the people of the United States, is where the loyalty of Donald Trump lies. The patriotism alone that has erupted in this country with regard to people signing up for the first time in a long time to the military and to government service, and God is come back to this country and is relevant in this country one more time, and the evil is skulking into the corners, and this disturbs the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is the dark side right now. It is the social arm. The socialization of this country is their prima facie reasoning behind having no kings or any other march or protest that they come up with. Do not be fooled by this. And if you are on the fence and thinking about being part or being around this no king thing that's going to take place, have a second thought. Stay home. Revel in the love of your family. Don't go out and get trapped into their snare one more time to bring you to the dark side of everything is bad and nothing is good, and aided and abetted by people like MSNBC who lie to you every day on behest of the Democratic Party. It is hard to believe that Obama, in any stretch of the means, is a leader of that party any longer. You want to talk about the dark side, there it is, and that is not a pun intended in that situation. But it's true. Let's take a look at what Obama had to say to CNN right here.
President J.D. Vance signaling over the weekend that the president was not opposed to invoking the Insurrection Act in his effort to deploy the U.S. military in American cities for law enforcement purposes. Former President Barack Obama weighing in today. He had a warning about what he believes would be the broader consequences of that action.
When you have military that can direct force against their own people, that is inherently corrupting. When you have what looks like a deliberate end run around not just a concept, but a law that's been around for a long time, posse comitatus, that says, you don't use our military on domestic soil unless there is an extraordinary emergency of some sort. That when you see an administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection or
a terrorist act.
That is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy.
Well, as I said, the government is shut and shut down for one reason. It's a Schumer shutdown and a Hakeem Jeffries shutdown. There is no reason that we cannot get this clean resolution pushed through, open the government, and then have peaceful negotiations between two sides and come up with exactly what is needed for our health care. Obamacare was no great shake for this country. And as I said in an earlier program here, if you let the insurers compete against each other, rates will come down, you'll have bigger and better choices, and Obamacare, he's right. Trump is right when he said back in his first term, Obamacare sucks. It does. The marketplace was no buy for anybody. Put back the competition between these insurance companies, everyone benefits. To just randomly go along with the Democrats and renew the expiring Obamacare program is no help to middle America. Middle America is the working America. Middle America are the people that go out every day and need this health care benefit that some employers will supply, but the ones that do not have an employer providing that for them need to have a choice between programs, between different insurance companies that is best and cheapest for that particular family. Obamacare was not designed to be that way. Obamacare was designed to help the people that voted for Obama. And I think a lot of those people realize the mistake they made. Just look at him now. He's a shadow of what he used to be, not relevant, not a leader of any party he'd like to be, But we saw how well he worked for Kamala Harris in her election bid because he knew that that was a poor choice. And he knew all along that he had a puppet in Joe Biden, and he held all the strings, and that was his last hurrah. He is irrelevant, and the relevant person in this day and age is Donald J. Trump, and he's proving it every day. Are you tired of winning yet? Because he is a winner, and we have watched losers for 8+ years or 10+ years try to run this country and try to systematically destroy our justice system because of the hatred of one man and the need to make that man irrelevant. But they had no idea on how difficult that would be. It's Tuesday, another beautiful fall day here in East Tennessee, and I'm hoping that you're all experiencing some weather. I understand the coastal regions are being pummeled with some rain. Even the deserts in Arizona are receiving record rainfalls, which is not a place that can easily handle that much downpour because of the desert sands. But they're surviving. The people on the East Coast that have been battered a little bit, at least were spared any major hurricane activity this year so far. But if you listen to mainstream media, every day they're trying to whip up a new hurricane to keep you in fear and worried. And as we tell you here all the time on the Kaiser Report, there is no need to fear because Donald Trump is near. And everything in this country is coming back slowly to normalcy, and we all are very proud here of our president, Donald J. Trump. Godspeed, Mr. President, and get the next one to fall, and that is the Ukraine-Russian war that needs to come to an end. I have every bit of optimism that will happen. With regard to the stock market, we saw a rally yesterday, and the forecasted opening today was a little down, but that is basically due to everybody talking, the talking heads about the China deal and the fact that we haven't gotten jobs numbers because of the government shutdown. This is all in the playbook of the Democrats right now, and this is what they want. They rely on you living in worry and fear every day for their existence. So smile, be happy that we have progress being made in this country, and fear nothing. Fear absolutely nothing, and turn off the talking heads, and you'll be a lot better off for it. So we're going to wish you a very happy rest of this Tuesday, and God bless you all. We appreciate you tuning into the Kaiser Report, and Kaiser and I want to tell you, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more great information and a laugh at some of the nonsense that they try to make us believe. Bye-bye now, and God bless you all.